Good noon, viewers. Today in the studio we have Captain Uppal. He is from Director General of Shipping. Then we have Dr. Ashish Agrawal, who is the project co-coordinator for this IGNOU DGS program. And today we shall be talking about Merchant Navy as a career option. So in this one we will be covering our whole BSc Nautical Science program, which has been jointly launched by Indira Gandhi National Open University and the Directorate General of Shipping. As you all know that Indira Gandhi National Open University has its national jurisdiction, and that is how the Directorate General of Shipping, which is the controlling authority of Merchant Navy, that they joined hands with Indira Gandhi National University and launched the BSc Nautical Science program. Now we have to remind you all, now here you can that this program is being live telecasted, and during this program if you have any queries you can put your query by calling our toll free number, which can be called from BSNL and MTNL landlines. Number is 1800-112345, and the other number is 2953-2844. But for calling this number you will have to put the STD code for Delhi. And during the interaction, if you have access to email, that also you can put your question if for some reason you are not able to access our toll free number or the other numbers. You can also put your queries through fax. Of course, one thing I have to remind you all, that while putting your question, kindly reduce the volume of your television set, and once your question is complete and when we are responding from studios, at that time please hear the answer from the television set and not from the telephone. Now, what is Merchant Navy? Now, as you see on the slide, it is not a defense, it is not the part of the defense, it is basically a civilian force. It is comprising of public and private companies. They operate wide variety of ships ranging from small tugs to ultra large crude oil carriers for the purpose of trade. Now here just a rough idea is given that a ship can be as large as 250 to 300 meters long and 30 to 50 meter wide, and just taking the average one can work out that it covers approximately 1 hectare area, that is equivalent to 2.5 acres. So you can imagine the size of a ship, how large it can be. Now here one by one we will be giving a brief info about the different kinds of ships, and for which I would request Captain Uppal to state about these in brief.
Thank you, Dr. Vyas. On the screen you can see this was a small tug which actually helps a larger ship when it comes to port to assist in berthing and deberthing of the ship. This is a small tug, as you see here, which helps a bigger ship when she arrives in the port. Now you can see a bulk carrier. It's a large ship. It carries cargo in bulk. For example, you have coal, you have grain. That type of ores There are many other ores which can be carried in bulk. These bulk carriers carry those cargo in bulk in their ships. Here you see a car carrier. It is an exclusive car carrier purely meant for carrying cars. It is not only cars, it is the vehicles, because they have floatable decks by which the height can be adjusted. They can carry a larger vehicle as well as small cars, but purely a transportation of vehicles in this type of ship. Here is a container ship, which are the in thing of nowadays. Most of the cargo is being carried in containers, and these ships carry containers. These ships can carry up to 4,000 to 5,000 containers in one go. These ships are very fast moving ships, and the transshipment of the cargo is quite quick in these type of ships.
So Captain Uppal, that means that these ships can carry say 4,000 to 5,000 truckloads.
Yes,
even much more than that.
Each container can take a load up to 20 tons. So it is, you can say that it is even more than a
So really quite a huge quantity.
Yes, that is true.
Then
Then
now you see, so now we have a passenger vessel. So what for
now, these are the passenger ships. I think everybody knows these are luxury passenger carriers, where they normally are in a world tour. A lot of passengers go here. In these type of ships, basically you will have 8 to 9 decks, even more decks, and these ships are equipped with all type of things. There is shopping centers, there could be a big recreation room, dance floors. You can have your recreation room, as I said, mess rooms, large different types of cabins. So these are the ships which are luxury ships, and here also the manning of these ships are done by the deck and engine officers and deck officers, which will be coming through our this project, will also be manning, or in fact they are manning these type of ships.
Captain Uppal, you were just a few minutes back, you were telling about that this is having 7 to 8 decks. Decks means are these?
See, it is like floors. You see, it
see.
is like floors.
Right.
Decks means they are various floors, 8 to 10 floors of these ships. They are equipped with the lifts and things like that. So there are lifts inside the ship. It is like a small town by itself.
Okay, now here you see a gas tanker vessel. Now,
gas tanker vessels are basically ships, as you see on the screen here. This is a LNG, a liquefied natural gas. The gas which is there is compressed under pressure in a liquid form in these type of ships. These are specialized ships where an officer gets a training to work on these type of ships. Apart from navigation, which is common in all ships, the other aspect of the ship, like the cargo handling, the loading, discharging of the cargo, which is also a responsibility of the deck officers. So they get specialized training on these ships. These domes you can see here, these are basically pressurized vessels within a ship where the cargo is being carried.
Okay. Now, whether these LNG carriers, like they are also refrigerated, or
yes,
they are carried at the normal temperature?
They are under pressure in a refrigerator, in a minus temperature. They could be something like minus 260 degrees centigrade. That type of pressure under minus temperature, they are being pressurized.
Maybe minus 260 degree Fahrenheit?
Yes.
Because 260 degree centigrade will be
I mean Fahrenheit. So it is, what I mean is that is in a very high pressure, so that the gases can flow in a liquid form.
Okay. Now the same carriers might be used for our LPG, which
yes,
we
I
use
mean we
for
have
our
shown you one type
purposes.
of ships. LPG is basically also a liquefied petroleum gas, where different products can be carried. Whereas in LNG, only LNG can be carried. So we have another type of vessels, LPG, where different chemicals can be carried.
No.
Now this is where you see on the screen was a product carrier. It is a crude oil carrier. They are also very large ships. They carry crude, which are basically carried from Gulf to India or to various other countries. Here the crude is carried in bulk. Something like 200,000 tons of crude can be carried in one go, even more than that. So these are the carriers carrying crude oils.
So, after looking at these various ships as explained by Captain Uppal, now, so as we said in the beginning that it is a non-combat force, so what actually the merchant navy means? Now, see, in merchant navy there are ships, and these ships, see, the beauty is that ships may be owned in one country, may be registered in a second country, some other country, and the managing force may be coming from another country. The crew may be drawn from one more country. So in that situation you will find that a ship is really global. This industry is really global, that you see the ship is owned by one country, one person says ship is owned in Japan, it is registered in say Hong Kong, being managed by a company which may be located say in Greece, and maybe the crew is drawn from India and several other countries. So certainly it makes it a global industry. Now what is common is the English language and the international standards for safety and other things. Now we again repeat that this program is being live telecasted, and we can be accessed by calling toll-free number from MTNL BSNL landlines 1800 and the other telephone numbers listed here. You can also send your email at ignodgs_studentinfo@yahoo.com, yahoo.co.in, and we again request you, whenever you wish you can call us, but while calling please reduce the television set volume and put your question. Thereafter you have to hear the answer using the television set itself. Now why shipping industry? What is its importance? Here we would request Captain Uppal to throw some light on this, that what is this shipping industry basically is, what is its importance in global scenario.
Thank you, Dr. Vyas. As you know, this is, as we have already said earlier, it is a commercial industry. The shipping industry is a backbone of all the activities. 90% of the world trade by volume is being carried by shipping industry. I mean, if there is no shipping industry, probably half the world will freeze and half will starve. It is the shipping industry, because of the ships, the cargo is being carried around the world, and these ships has to be manned by the people who are going to take this cargo, take care of the cargo, and navigate these ships safely from one place to the other. So this is...
Now, how many ships may be moving around the world? Something like 50,000?
I think 50,000 or more ships could be around in the world.
Internationally.
At any one time will be trading.
Achha, it is also said that shipping is most environment friendly. So in what way do you justify this?
You see, the large quantity is carried in one ship, whereas if you compare that with any other movement ashore, a truck, as I said, 5,000 containers can be carried in a ship. That means 5,000 truckload of cargo can be carried in one go in a ship. The emission of the CO2, the carbon dioxide by trucks, you can imagine, as compared to what it could be on a ship. there is no comparison. That is why I say it is environment friendly.
And as it was shown earlier on the slide, that it is also the cheapest mode of transport. So
Exactly.
how does it work out?
Yes. The cheapest mode of transport, because the larger volume in a ship as compared to a smaller volume in a unit of trucks or by train, and if they work out the statistics, you will find it is definitely a much more cheaper way of making the trade.
Thank you, Captain Uppal. Now, can I request now Dr. Assis that what is the status of manning requirement? As such, what is the shortage? And then, of course, the same can be further substantiated by Captain Uppal. That, what is this? Basically, we talk always that there is shortage, there is shortage. So, what is this shortage?
Actually, when we launched this program, there was a big shortage that the person who are going to manage the ships, or just like a captain or first officer or second officer, there is a huge shortage because the number of ships are increasing day by day because of the to meet the balance between the supply and demand in the whole world. So that is why the number of ships is increasing, number of person required to manage the ship or navigate the ship is also increasing. So there is a demand, and the institutions or institutes which are already existing previously, they were not able to cater the need of the shipping companies. So that is why there is always a gap, and this program is meant to at least fulfill the needs of the shipping companies, to fulfill the needs of the persons who are required at various levels to navigate the ships. Am I right, Captain Uppal?
Yes, Dr. Agarwal, you're right. The shortage is in the sense because this is a specialized field where one has to get a training in a specific field where, like shipping, and day by day there is an increase in the trade. Number of ships are more, as you already said. To man these ships, mainly the officers are from India and Southeast Asian countries. They are the ones who are actually doing the major manning of these ships. So as the number of ships are increasing day by day, the output of officers compared to the requirement, the gap is increasing. So the officers are in great demand, and Indian officers are considered one of the best in the world. So they are definitely going to be much more in demand. And that is one reason that the Government of India has thought of increasing our output or increasing the number of officers from India so that they can not only man their own ships in India but also serve the foreign countries and get good foreign trade returns for the country.
So in other words, we can say that there is a lot of job opportunities for the candidates or for the students who are doing this BSc Nautical Science program.
Yes, as you said rightly.
What, Captain Uppal, I just want to know, because you see what is happening at present is that as the technology is advancing, the manpower required on a ship is also being reduced. So how do you justify this, that there is great demand?
You see, as I said, on a ship, in the present scenario, with these modern ships, there could be about 20 to 25 people, or even lesser than that. But the number of ships are quite large. Whereas, as I said, the demand is more because demand is basically of a quality people.
Yeah.
And Indian officers are considered to be one of the best. They have proved themselves to be the best officers. They have been trading, they have been serving these ships. Even the largest crude carrier is being manned by or commanded by an Indian captain. So once there is a reputation of a country with respect to an officers, whatever may be the case, you will always be in demand. So that type of reputation the Indian officers have maintained now. So even if there is a latest technology, the number of people on a ship could be less, but the demand will still remain.
So thank you, Captain Uppal. Now Captain Uppal each time is stressing on the word officers. So that means, shall we assume that Indian officers are much in demand, but as far as the other ratings are concerned, there of course is a competition that there are basically these persons have to do very heavy work. They are expected to do heavy work, and for that reason the people from other countries who are whose bodies is sturdy, very strong persons are required at that level, but where the brain and the obedience and all these things are required, that is where perhaps the Indian people, Indian officers.
It is a competitive world. I am stressing on Indian officers because there are other countries like Philippines, Indonesian, Chinese, where there are officers, but there the demand of an crew is much more. There are number of people there also, number of people are equally there, but Indian officers proving their reputation of being a qualified good officers have captured the market as far as an officer is concerned, whereas the seaman is concerned, there is equally number of people from other countries who have a good share of officers, I mean the sailors.
So would you give credit for this to the kind of training which is imparted in India?
Yes, and the basic credit goes to the fundamental teaching which they get up to 10+2, and the command on the English language which Indian officers have gives them edge over other nations.
Yeah, so that means the candidates who would like to join Merchant Navy, they will have to put emphasis on their spoken English, and that is how, because you see the crew is it may be of course all from one country, but there is always a mix also. So you have to interact with the international community at each and every place, and ultimately the common language which is understood is English. Now here you can now please put the slide. There is a slide. This indicates the manning status. Now you can see here that in 2010 the expected shortage was predicted earlier 23,000 of officers. Similarly, by 2015, 30,000 officers. So taking into account that what is the growing status of the shipping industry, growing status of the institutes, these demands were predicted long back, and recently now people talk of much larger demand of officers which are required to man the ships. And here you can see that despite whatsoever training institutions are open, still there is sufficient demand. And as people will know that see, the developed countries, of course, because there they had several other opportunities, and that is how slowly so their intake from such countries to the shipping industry to manage the ships has reduced, and the same has been taken over by other countries, and India is one of the prominent countries to supply officers to the shipping industry, and there is great demand. As you can see that despite whatsoever infrastructure which has been created, still a shortage of 30,000 officers is predicted. Now when there is shortage of officers, so is the job security, because you see something is in short supply, certainly its requirement is there, and when there is this shortage, so are the wages, because if there is shortage, certainly you can demand a premium from the employers. There are very good wages. We would say that a person who is coming just after passing 10+2 qualification and doing 1 year pre-sea training, they get employment on board as the deck officer, and during that period also they get stipend in the range of $200 to $600 US per month, And now you can see that what kind of wages they command right when you are doing your program. But once you complete the complete BSc degree program, or you get your second mate certificate of competency, you join a ship as third officer, and you can expect a salary in the range of 1500 to 2300 US dollars per month. But these all wages what you see on the screen are very conservative, because these were the wages basically which were about 1.5 to 2 years back. Basically now the wages are something like $3,000 US dollars per month for third officer. Captain Uppal, would you please
Yes,
clarify on this?
you are right. Right now the going wages for a third officer is something like 3,000 US dollars, and for a master it is something like 8 to 10,000 US dollars. That's the going rate in the present scenario.
And a person becomes,
and there is a great demand for an officer.
and a person, when a person can expect the wages of a master?
See, from third officer, if you become a third officer, to become a master, it takes 4 to 5 years. Because you have to do some period of sea service to qualify to get the next highest certificate, which is chief mate, that is the chief officer of the ship. And then after passing that, you have to serve for another 18 months and then appear for master's certificate. So it takes 18 months here and then another 18 months here. So 3 years plus examination period and leave. You can say 4 years plus to become a master.
So basically this is a kind of continuing education, like
yes,
you serve for certain period, then again come for the training, pass your higher courses, again you go for onboard training. So that way it continues.
Yes, as I said, it is a specialized field. You are trained from a cadet to a third officer, then you do specific type of a job as a third officer, then you qualify to become a chief officer. Chief officer is mainly responsible for the cargo loading, discharging, along with navigation aspect, which you learn even as the third officer. And then after some period of time you become the master of the ship, and he is the highest, he is in command of the ship, who is overall in charge of the ship.
Okay, so as we were talking about that why career in merchant navy, so as one is that shortage of officers is there, so is the job security. You get job security because there is shortage. You get reasonably good wages. Having just passed 10+2 qualification at 55% marks, and then we are not looking for that you should be all 80-90%er, or you have to qualify like IIT JEE examination or something. Nothing great we are demanding, and at being just average, or I would say just average people.
Yes, an average boy can easily pass this exam. We are asking for the minimum percentage is 55%.
And that
PCM 55%. Boy can come into this field, which is in present scenario is a very reasonable percentage, and thereafter he can make a career of it and do very well in his life.
Dr. Ashish,
Main thing is the
how
dedication.
do you feel? Like,
Main thing
what is
that,
your observation on this?
Actually, here I am feeling that we are taking just like average student or more than average student, but the person or the candidate who is well devoted and sincere, he can do a lot many things in this field, and he can do a lot of things is just waiting for you to join this career and take this opportunity to join the shipping industry, and lot many opportunities are awaiting for you.
Okay, so then of course there is opportunity like traveling to foreign countries, because as you sail to different countries, you do get some time. Of course, now Captain Uppal would throw some light on this, because what we hear now that it is similar to like airport. You find that the time for parking or when you are on port is reduced. So in what way, whether they can still find some time to see the
Yes, Dr. Vyas, this is not that you don't get time. There is always time to go out, but you may not be able to go to the interiors of the country. But you always can go to the port and be there. And then not to forget that, you see, you always join a ship after every 3 months, 4 months. So you sign up in a foreign country and then you come back home. You always have a time, a day or two, or you can stay another day there, see the country and come back home. And the expenses of traveling up and down is taken care by the company by itself. So
that's great.
So like I can say that in my tenure at shipping, when I was sailing for good 18 years, I virtually saw the world, and to great extent I have seen the world. So you always have an opportunity to see.
Captain Uppal, it is also said that merchant navy is very adventurous and challenging. So in what way it is adventurous and challenging?
See, adventurous and challenging in the sense you could be joining ship, let's say in Gulf, with a temperature of 50 degrees centigrade, and within 20 days the ship could be in Greenland or somewhere in higher latitudes of European countries where the temperature is in minus. So in that way you will see that there are different type of temperature. Every day the temperature is changing. So it is one of a challenge which you will be going through. Every time as a deck officer you will be facing a different scenario, different situation of loading, discharging, or a different port, which is quite different from a normal type of job 9 to 5 in any shore job. In that sense, I will call this career a challenging adventurous.
Okay, thank you, Captain Uppal. Now this industry is also said to be regulated by UN IMO, that is for its safety, security, international standards. So what is this IMO is?
See, IMO is basically an international maritime organization. It is a sister concern of UN, United Nations. Here, all the safety aspect of the ship, there are many aspects which is to be taken care, the construction of the ship, the safety appliances on board a ship, the competence of an officer. Since it is a global industry, the ships are moving around the world, so it has to be a common platform for these requirements. So these requirements are being made by IMO, which are being implemented by all the countries, so that everybody is on the same platform, with the same footing, with the same competence. So that's why these organizations like IMO helps the shipping industry at large on a global scenario uniformly.
Okay, thank you, Captain Uppal. Now we come to like again why career in merchant navy. So it is said that there are fast promotions, early responsibility, independence, flexibility in working, social cause, no daily traveling. Now I request Dr. Ashish Agrawal that what is this early responsibility means?
Just like Captain Uppal has said that we have large phases, or you can say that careers in this shipping industry, starting with the first officer, second officer. So a person or the student just after crossing the age of 25, he becomes more responsible. He gets the more responsibility and earlier responsibility in the career to manage the he will be responsible for each and every activities to navigate the ships. Captain Uppal, just
Yes,
correct me.
Dr. Agrawal, what you are saying is very correct. See, after 10 plus 2, 3 years as a cadet, you become a third officer.
Hello.
And once you become a third officer, you are in charge of a cargo, ship, the navigation of the ship, complete navigation of the ship. Similarly, in another year or two, you become a chief officer. You also take charge of the cargo aspect. So you can imagine millions of dollars of ship with lives on board a ship is in the hands of one officer who is on duty that time. So that type of responsibility comes in an officer at a very early age. in this type of career.
Another thing is that he also becomes aware of all the IMO rules and regulations at very early age. And since he's navigating or he is responsible for all the activities in the ships, so he will be responsible for all the rules and regulation for the ship safety.
Yes, what you said is absolutely correct.
So as Captain Uppal said that there is opportunity of fast promotions, because you see that just after joining the program, within 10 years, if you are putting your good efforts, one can expect to become the master of the ship, that is captain of the ship, and captain is the highest position
on a ship.
And so that is how it is always talked, like fast promotions, that within every 2 years you expect a promotion. And then of course independence of working is there. So in what way it is a person enjoy independence on board? Now,
see, independence in the sense that you are given a lot of responsibility, you are on your own, you have to take decision then and there, being a nature of job. And another aspect which I must tell you, that when you are on a ship, the ship itself where you stay is your workplace. There is no traveling the way it is in the normal life, 9 to 5 for the people.
Like we in Delhi,
you have to travel 1 hour, 1 hour, 2 hours.
Mumbai, 2 hours.
Yes,
even some
so
people,
that type of
like
thing
here,
is not there.
Ji.
You are there all the time, and you just go up on the bridge and you are on duty. So when you are on board the ship, you are on duty, you can say 24 hours. At the same time, living there, you could be very comfortable.
No, but the point is, so ultimately, sir, supposing that you are on board 24 hours, not only suppose, but basically this is the situation. You are on board on 24 hours, but out of these 24 hours, for how many hours you may be expected to work?
8 hours. You see, the watches are divided in 4 hours in 3 categories, 3 quarters. Like the third officer takes watches 8 to 12 local time, that is whatever time you are keeping on a ship. 12 to 4 is taken by the second officer, and then 4 to 8 again is taken by the chief officer. So these 3 officers then keep rotating their watches, and captain is overall in charge of the things happening. So in 24 hours, while the ship is sailing, you will be working for 8 hours on board a ship.
Okay. So as we were talking that certainly you will be handling high value assets, as a new ship itself can cost over 40 crores rupees. Is it correct? 40 crores or 400 crores?
400 crores, 40 crores is much less, it's about millions, it's something like 400 millions, much more.
I see. Then we talk of manning requirement on ships. So trained peoples are required for 3 main departments of the ship, that is management level, operation level and support level. So are the departments like deck, engine and saloon. And here we are talking about the deck department, which is the ship navigating department.
Yeah.
Then there is engine department, who makes the engine, that all technical things running for the ship. And then saloon department is the support department, to support for catering, laundry, all these things.
That is correct. There are 3 departments, as you said. What we are dealing here as a deck cadet is on the deck department, where you become a navigating officer. Then you have engineering department, who look after the engine, the machinery and other aspect, and the saloon department, which is basically the catering, the upkeep of the
Ship.
accommodation.
Okay,
Others.
okay. So can you say something like that, what kind of accommodation people can expect on board? Is it really comfortable?
It is very comfortable, especially all these ships nowadays, all ships are air conditioned. You can say it is nothing less than any 5-star hotel with respect to the accommodation.
Yeah, because you see,
The only confinement is that you will be confined to that accommodation when the ship is sailing. You'll be confined to those spaces when the ship is sailing because you will be within a ship. That is the confinement, but otherwise, the facilities wise, everything is available.
Yeah, because what I see, like in train, a locomotive train, there you see the life of the driver has been really very tough when they were driving these steam engines. Of course, when they are driving these electrical engine, or even the life is not that easy there, because the person has to, I'm going to say, there is hardly any seat basically one see there.
Yeah.
Mostly it
See,
goes
what you see is on a train and all, the engine driver, you are talking about his workplace. So here you have a bridge which is a workplace. It is like a cockpit of any airplane. But then subsequently below decks there is a proper accommodation for an officer. He will have his day room, he will have his bedroom, he will have his study room and things like that, and it is available for all officers. He will have all the facilities of a music, a TV, a computer, a telephone. So these type of, that is bare minimum which every officer will have. Then you have your mess room, your recreation room. So that way the space is enough for them to live a very comfortable life on board a ship.
Another question which comes to my mind, that just like nowadays the role of information technology is increasing. So how every ship which is sailing, and that may be in the mind of many parents who are watching our this session, they must be worrying that how they will get some information about their son or daughter who is sailing as a cadet or a deck cadet. How they will get information? Is the ship is well connected?
Yes, nowadays we have, you know, satellite communication system, and you can directly give a ring from a shore to a ship, and it will be picked up by a captain directly, and he can directly connect to an officer wherever he may be. So nowadays it is not that old days that once you sail you are for days together, you can't be heard.
Out of the touch.
But no, now it is day to day talking with the ship from shore, and any time of the day one can be in touch. Another aspect is that now the ships are being tracked every minute. So one
GPRS.
can know
GPRS.
where the ship is on the GPS at that instant. So they are very safe that way. They are well connected ashore, and if there is any storm or something at sea, you can know about the storm weeks in advance, and then you can alter your course or move around or plan your passage accordingly.
Further, as you said, now the life becomes comfortable in another way, like the pattern of work. Say earlier the contract used to be say for 9 months, even now they are getting reduced to 3 months, to 4 months, to 6 months, to 9 months, something in variation. So of course you get early opportunities to visit your home.
Yes, nowadays for a senior officers the contract is for 3 months. That you be on board for 3 months, then you are at home for 2 months. And these type of contracts are being available. For junior it could be 4 to 5 months. So, and of course cadets sometimes they like to stay for a longer period so they can pass their examination faster. But on average,
especially
4
to
months.
become master, people try that they early they become master, early they enjoy the very high wages.
Exactly.
And that is the reason why they want to spend, and of course at that time they may not have the family responsibilities also in the beginning. So that must be encouraging them to take up the
Exactly. You see, that is
longer
one,
duration contract.
Yes.
And
That is
pass
one of,
their
yes, that is one of the reasons that, you know, when you are a bachelor, very young, you don't mind staying on ship for a longer period, so you can finish your requirement, sea service, and appear for the examination the earliest possible.
So what is the status now, whether the families of officers are allowed on board,
Yes,
and at what level?
chief officer and above. This is the phone.
No.
Chief officer and above, the families are allowed on board a ship, and only a request has to be made to a company, and they allow them to join the ship with you on board.
Okay, so thank you Captain Uppal, thank you Dr. Ashish Now here we come to the end of this session, and we will continue our discussion. And of course, till now we were talking about the shipping industry, that how one takes employment, etc., and what are the prospects there. In the second half, we will be discussing about the details on how one can become an officer in merchant navy, what are the eligibility criteria, how is the program designed, and what are the do's and don'ts for people who are looking for an opportunity to serve merchant navy. Thank you very much. We will again come back at 1 o'clock. Thank you.